Berner Oberland in Switzerland. You can't beat this. Okay, here's just a little taste of the Berner Oberland up in the Alps. Today, Switzerland, of course, is here. The capital is Bern. Just a half-hour drive south to the Berner Oberland, to the city of Interlaken, is where we're going to show you. There's Interlaken, a close-up view, city between two lakes. I'm going to take you down the Lauterbrunnen Valley, right down the valley. I'm going to go up a tram to Gimmelwald, and then over to this area, and then back down the mountain to Lauterbrunnen. There's a little view of the valley. Lauterbrunnen Valley. I have a Trek e-bike that I'm renting for Imboden Bikes in Lauterbrunnen, Switzerland. So here I've exited out of the bike shop and go down just a little bit into the city road for just a little bit, and then it takes you on to the mountain trail up Lauterbrunnen Valley. You can see the waterfall up there. This is what the trail looks like. It's all paved. I'm here in September, so it's not the high tourist season, but things are still very green, and what is nice is there isn't a lot of people. I can imagine in the summertime it would be pretty extensive. It's a little shaky here because I have got a helmet cam on with my GoPro camera that I've used for the first time. So beautiful waterfalls you can stop at as you continue on this pathway out the Lauterbrunnen Valley. It's not very far. Maybe it's a half-hour ride up to where we're going, but as you can see, very pleasant. Again, you'll have to be careful, a little bit of people that come and go. Again, this is low season, so it's not so bad. So it'll be a little bit more difficult if you were there in more summertime, high season. There's just some wonderful places to stop and see, just, you know, beautiful little barns and things, and it's tucked in this gorgeous valley with farmyards on either side, and they've maintained this beautiful pathway, sometimes along rock walls that they've built up, but a fabulous fun ride, but again short. It's only about a half an hour, maybe 20 minutes, unless you want to stop and see the waterfalls that you can walk up to. There is a river that goes along the valley there, and eventually when we come to a particular place up the valley a little bit, they don't want you to take the bikes up the pathway. I think it's probably private land. So here, you know, you pass personal farmyards along the way, and when you get to a certain point, it asks you to stop, and you take the bridge over to the road. It crosses beautiful little Weiße Ludwische river, and then you're on the road sharing it with cars for just a little bit, maybe 200 yards or something, till you come to the tram station in what a little place they call Steckelberg. It's the only thing there is the tram that goes up to Gimmelwald, where I'm taking. So now I'm on the tram. The bike trail continues from there up the valley a little bit. I didn't take that. There's Steckelberg and the tram station just below. Here's a different view of the tram that goes to Gimmelwald. I'm on a different tram now to show you in the distance the tram coming up. That's a little footbridge you could take across that valley if you dare. Not a bike, but there's the gondola that we were just on that takes you up to the town of Gimmelwald. So we're in Gimmelwald right now, and I'm going to take the pathway. We're on top of the cliff now, and we're taking from a little place in Gimmelwald where we stayed in his gorgeous man's house, rented an apartment. And it's just a little tiny village, so serene, wonderful place to stay. Hardly any people, maybe 100 inhabitants, but we've got this beautiful bike trail that takes you from Gimmelwald up to a town of Mürren, which is further along the valley. Now I'm traveling back the other way on the Lauterbrunnen Valley, but I'm up on the mountain now, traveling back towards Lauterbrunnen, but on this beautiful trail that takes you up to this mountain. It's about a 40-minute hike, but 10 minutes by bike. And here's beautiful forest and well paved, and just great scenery along the way. Again, because there's not very many people in Gimmelwald, the pathways are not going to be crowded, because again, it's a 40-minute walk up a fairly steep pathways you can see here, but it's all paved and just so worth it. Mürren is this town we're coming to, and Mürren is a much more of a tourist place with a number of hotels and places to stay and restaurants. So it's more of a touristy area, and that's not really what we are after. So this pathway just takes us to this town of Mürren, but you can see all along the way it's just well maintained, and with an e-bike it makes it so easy to go up these hills. I'm on a Trek bike, I think, as I mentioned, and not as uncomfortable as my high bike, but here we are in the town, outskirts of town of Mürren, and like I say, most of these are all hotels and places to stay here that you see. Down at the bottom of them are restaurants and some local people that staff the ski lifts, because in wintertime this is quite a ski town, because there's ski lifts all around. But beautiful Swiss town. I stopped in the middle of town here for a little bit to take a rest, but then I continued on Mürren, and Mürren takes you about 5 minutes to get through Mürren on a bike, and it gets a little more crowded as people are the tourist area and around the restaurants, so you want to be careful, but they still let you ride. Here's the other end of Mürren as I'm going through. As you see, look, there's a cogwheel train that can take you up to the place that tourists often take, so it's quite the transportation system. But now here I'm heading out of Mürren, and following the pathway along this cliff edge, which is a little bit to my right, it follows the railway for a little bit, and then it doesn't let you take this pathway, which is mostly for hikers, takes you up over a little hill a little bit off of the hiking path and strictly a bike path. And I get to and this is that intersection where there's the hiking path to the right and I'm taking the path up. So there's, cowbells and cows wandering all over, and it's to a little ski lift area called Wintereg. It's just where, the ski lodge is, and that's where I decided that I would go down the mountain from there. It was a better road. Then I could continue on further, but I was told that the road down the mountain after that next place was steeper and more gravelly. So I decided to take the more paved path, and it turns into a dirt road from Wintereg, and this is it. So it's just a gravel road. You can't really drive on it except for locals, so there's no traffic, and it just becomes very pleasant, and taking you gently back down to the Lauterbrunnen Valley.
And there's the mighty three: Eiger, the Munch, and the Jungfrau behind that tree.
There's a guy doing it the real way, just a 10-speed, checking it out. So here's, the last little bit. Go through forests and things, and again, it's about a half-hour ride, maybe 45 minutes down this mountain road. But it leads you right down to the town of Lauterbrunnen. That's the end of the trail, and there's a ski lift that up to the Wintereg where we came down from. Doesn't operate in the summer, and there's a street down to the main drag of Lauterbrunnen where I return my bike.
Wahoo! Switzerland!